Good morning. So this has been a historic week in the city of Patterson. Monday, we not only celebrated America's birthday, but Ryan, we celebrated Patterson's birthday as well. Because on July 4th, 1792, our founder, Alexander Hamilton, saw to it that this city would be officially incorporated. As a matter of fact, it's interesting because you think if Hamilton was the founder of this city, it would be named for him. But it'll go down as one of the first political deals in American history because they went to go see the governor with this concept of a city based on industry. And the governor loved it. He said, there's only one thing missing. What's the name of the city? And they said, well, Governor William Paterson, your name would look good on this city in exchange for his signature on the charter to incorporate Patterson. So there you have it, a quid pro quo. Yesterday, we celebrated the 75th anniversary of Larry Doby, Patterson's own Eastside High School Hall of Famer, breaking the color barrier in the American League. Jackie Robinson did it on April 15th, 1947 in the National League with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And so today, we celebrate even more history in Patterson, where we have a history teacher who's made history in her own right. She is the first in the state. There have been other individuals who have been nominated and have been finalists, but never to receive this prestigious award for a middle school teacher, National History Day Teacher of the Year. And I've known this young lady for 30 plus years. It's true. I'm not trying to be impolite or improper, but I went to high school with her brother, Antoine. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's ancient history. But at this time, we have some special guests who'd like to share some comments about our awardee today. So we'll start with the president of the Patterson Education Association making his debut as far as, say, administration press conferences are concerned, John Mcentee. Welcome, Johnny Mcentee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That is an awful tough act to follow, going after you. I want to sincerely, on behalf of all the members, all 3,000 members of the Patterson Education Association, congratulate my long-term colleague here, Lizandaa Alburg, not only for a job well done, but I think it deems to be said. Lizandaa has spent more than 20 years in the Patterson Public Schools.
Right.
And she's been educating our children to the best of her abilities. And I know that the students, wherever their next career path will be, will always remember the hard work and dedication of Lizandaa. You know, it's not easy being a Patterson public school teacher or a teacher anywhere, but Lizandaa has done it well. She has certainly served the city well, and congratulations to you on such a wonderful honor.
John's right. She's been teaching here for 21 years. And we're talking about hundreds of students that she's prepared for almost 10 years, because I believe we've been participating since 2013 in the National History Day competition. And she was at School 28, Gifted and Talented program, where I'm proud to say my eldest child is currently a student. And newsflash, now my middle child will be at School 28 as well as you exit. But it has nothing to do with that. There's no correlation. So we're really encouraged that we do have gifted and talented students. And at this time, we'd like to hear from a representative from the superintendent's office, none other than Paul Brubaker, our spokesperson. Paul, come on in.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Mayor.
Paul.
Mayor, I want to thank you on a couple of levels because this is just a mere couple of days into your second term as the mayor of the great, and you chose to spend this precious time to recognize a Patterson teacher. My name is Paul Brubaker. I'm the Communications Director for Patterson Public Schools, and on behalf of the Superintendent, Eileen Schaefer, who regrets that you could not be with us today, I want to extend our sincere and enthusiastic congratulations to Lizandaa Alburg, the first teacher from New Jersey to be named Teacher of the Year from the very prestigious National History Day organization. It is an amazing accomplishment. From my view, from the cheap seats as Communications Director, all right, because I have a background as a social studies teacher, one of the many things that makes Lizandaa Alburg Alburg so unique as a history teacher is that she doesn't represent the tired old adage of those who fail to study history are condemned to repeat it. In fact, she goes in the opposite direction. She immersed her students into the study of history so that they would develop critical thinking skills, comprehensive research skills, the ability to really know the difference between information that is empirically factual and verifiable,
Yes.
and information that is not. I think a very strong argument can be made that in order for us to truly reach that aspiration of becoming a more perfect union, we must educate our students in the Lizandaa Alburg and the National History Day methodologies of studying history. And with that, I also want to thank not only Mayor Sayegh, but our PEA president, President John Mcentee, who represents thousands of Patterson educators and critical staff members in the city of Patterson. Thank you so much for sharing in this event and everything. And I would be very remiss if I didn't acknowledge Nancy Norris Bauer, the director of the National History Day New Jersey, and who happens to work at the nearby William Paterson University, a strong partner with the district. Thank you for all you've done to keep history at the forefront of public education. There is no higher calling than to work in service of the education of future generations. Thank you for recognizing a person who has done exactly that. Thank you.
Paul Brubaker, this is not your first rodeo here. I'm mightily impressed. In full disclosure, I was a history major at Seton Hall University. Took multiple courses. In fact, love history so much, it's one of the reasons why I got into government. And my youngest child, who I didn't mention earlier, his middle name is Kennedy, because that was the call to service and that spirit that is very prominent in my household. You've heard earlier the aforementioned Nancy Norris Bauer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from her, the president of the New Jersey National History Day. And William Paterson University Administrator.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm delighted to be here. First of all, I want to thank the mayor, who has been a supporter of History Day throughout his career. We're just so proud of Lizandaa. Patterson has always been involved in National History Day, which is the largest history education program in the country, and especially at the high schools with a lot of success. But Lizandaa started this at the middle school level, and it really is a model for the rest of Patterson and certainly other middle schools across the state. And the fact that she was chosen as the teacher of the year across the country. National History Day is getting ready to celebrate its 50th anniversary. So we're just so proud that Lizandaa is representing us, and we wish her all the best.
Yes.
We appreciate our partnerships with Patterson in many different areas that give voice to students and give them the opportunity to study their own histories that may not be showing up in the history books. So congratulations again.
Thank you, Nancy. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, but also in full disclosure, I want to mention that I'm still in the classroom. I've been teaching at Passaic County Community College for 22 years. And one thing I try to emphasize more than anything with my students is that you have to explore in order to explain, because they always need an explanation on everything, just like my children do. So we live by explanation through exploration. And so here we have a young lady who's helped children explore by explaining and then finding out for themselves, so that we don't repeat some of the mistakes of the past and hopefully accomplish even more than previous generations. So I'm proud to present on behalf of the city of Patterson an official proclamation honoring the National History Day Teacher of the Year, Patterson's own Lizandaa Alburg. Yes! I'm not going to read it because I pretty much said it.
What an honor and an achievement. I have to get my thoughts together, but I want to thank first and foremost Mayor Sayegh for providing this opportunity. John Mcentee, a leader of leaders, the Patterson Education Association, Paul Brubaker, Director of Communications with Patterson Public Schools, and of course, Nancy Norris Bauer, who introduced me to National History Day over 10 years ago. And I, as a history nerd and rock star, bit the bullet and decided this was definitely something that sounded like me. I am here today on the shoulders, standing on the shoulders of the greats who came before me. So in our wonderful city of Patterson, the history of Larry Doby, the Underground Railroad, a stop in Patterson. We have the Great Falls in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and Alexander Hamilton. And so with this recognition, I hope National History Day can create a revolution of history in the very city that I'm from. I want to also mention that I stand here on the shoulders of giants, middle school giants. Middle school giants like Maya McCracken, Daniela Mendez, Nuha Chowdhury, Christina Salazar, Isabella Gonzalez, Angela Alvarez, Abdas Hala, Rafael Rodriguez, Tasneem Abdulaziz, and many, many others. Hundreds of children who, by hook or by crook, by force and requirement, completed National History Day projects at the Patterson Academy for the Gifted and Talented. They rose to the great expectations that I had for them. They rose to the great expectations set by the district, set by our building leadership. And it is through the fruits of their labor that I realized that I could be a better educator, a better human being, a better historian. I also want to give credit to the countless parents who encourage their children to learn and achieve. Parents who researched, rehearsed, and created alongside their children. Parents who made dollar store runs, shared their homes for group project development, and woke up at the crack of dawn on a Saturday to support their children at the regional, state, or national level of a student-driven competition. Kudos to all parents, kudos to all of my students. I also want to give credit for this recognition to the colleagues that collaboratively worked and supported students, the learning environment of history, and so individuals such as Jessica Hines, Melissa DiPietro, Joseph Taglieri, Maureen Bruins, and Christina Lakin, who selflessly, again, taught many lessons, helped out with chaperoning field trips, and of course, just providing an ear and encouragement for our students. I also stand on the shoulders of the leadership within my school, the School 28, Patterson Academy of the Gifted and Talented, Principal Nancy Castro, Vice Principal Victoria LaRosier, even former supervisor Rita Route, who would constantly push and encourage me to continue the journey of National History Day. Superintendent Schaefer, other leaders within the district, again, providing budget, support. There was a time when Patterson Public Schools would even send all regional winners to Washington, D.C., the University of Maryland, to see the national competition in person. Patterson has supported National History Day like no other district. I also stand on the shoulders of community leaders who volunteered to be judges over the years. Commissioner Emmanuel Capers, former Commissioner Crystal Cleaves. We had Charles Ferrer, members of the Patterson Education Association, volunteering to assist in the learning journey of our children. I finally also want to recognize the friends and family who are here to support me. I stand on the shoulders of a little-known fact, former and deceased Willie Gillespie. My father died in 2001, but if you know where the KFC is on Broadway, that used to be a chicken restaurant called Freddy's. and my father had probably the first fried chicken restaurant in Patterson. My mother, Patricia Gillespie, former guest. I'm her caregiver, but she is a Pattersonian, born and raised, and has always loved and supported my journey in this city. I provide credit for all of the hours and the countless conversations about history that my husband, Mark Alburg, other family members, I have my Uncle Maurice Guest here, my PEA family who is here, Rena Mahan, young lady right here, was my babysitter as a child, so we've known each other for many years. Fellow history rock stars, Mareka Alberg, and of course I want to pay credit again to the New Jersey State Coordinator, Nancy Norris Bauer, for planting the seed many years ago in a professional development session, and so here are the fruits of your labor. I just want to highlight how far we've come, and so as April 1st was my last day in Patterson, and I am now working for the New Jersey Education Association. I work in the Professional Development Division, and I am proud to now be able to not only communicate the rewards of National History Day to Pattersonians and my local New Jerseyans, but I can now take National History Day to a regional level. The members of NJEA, 200,000 strong, and so providing an opportunity for everyone to understand the importance of history, History Day, and of course, funding it is something that I hold with great pride. I just want to highlight that after my 10 years as pretty much the social studies department at the Patterson Academy for the Gifted and Talented, we have had over 235 students and 101 projects qualify at the regional level. We have had 101 students and 41 projects competing at the state level of the National History Day competition. And finally, reaching the honorable national level, competing against 49 other states, international countries, China, Guatemala, Commonwealth, Puerto Rico. We've had 9 students and 4 projects. And so please give a round of applause to the giants, the students whose shoulders I stand on. And so as I conclude, I again want to say thank you. I am so humbled and honored to stand on the shoulders of the middle school students at the Patterson Academy for Gifted and Talented, Patterson Public Schools, National History Day, the Patterson Education Association, and so it is with great pride that this honor is brought home. And in the words of our mayor, we have great food, great falls,
and a great future.
And so I want to add to that. We have in Paterson, New Jersey, great students, great educators, and great history in the making. And so with that, Lizandaa Alburg, I am honored. Thank you.
Danny Backus, News 12.
What does it take to do History Day? Thank you.
Patience.
All right, exactly. So as a history teacher, let me just turn this off, I'm sorry. One of the things I think you should have is the ability to be open and to be a guide on the side, not the sage on the stage. And so I think it's important to listen to the students in front of you, whether they be young students, whether they are high schoolers or adults, to listen to the learning that they desire and to be there to support them and craft them and to guide them. So with patience, there definitely is the need to do your research and homework so you could be one step ahead of them. But there were many times that my students led me. They taught me. They taught me about Loving versus Virginia, the court case that set the precedent regarding interracial marriage. It was many students who taught me, right? This year we had a project about Newsies and about the newspaper strikes. We have students who taught me more about the silk worker strike here in Patterson. And so I think as a teacher, one of the most successful things you can do is to be able to listen, be open, and to be there to guide and support your students. One of my keys, great expectations. And so I was a rigorous educator. I expected a lot from my students, but they gave a lot. And they gave us so much more in what we learned. And so it is, again, my journey to not only guide the students that I've had, but to also have influence throughout the state regarding history and National History Day. Just quickly, one project that I'm working on right now is a grant, a 3-year grant called the Consortium. And that grant is going to address legislated mandates such as the Amistad mandate, the Holocaust mandate, the LGBTQIA+ mandate, the disabilities, persons with disabilities, and in the fall, another mandate is Asian American Pacific Islanders. And so it is the journey that I have to develop resources, curriculum, connections, and community so that we can hear a seamless, valued, respected story of history, including all voices. And that's the challenge and the responsibility I now have. And I look forward to bringing the consortium work to my backyard here in Patterson. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Let's have another round of applause for our Teacher of the Year. So,
Thank you.
Danny Backus opened up Pandora's box because you mentioned Loving versus Virginia, which the Supreme Court ruling was rendered, June 12, 1967. Little did my wife and I know, we're of different faiths and different races, we got married on June 12th as well. So it is Loving Day in our household. And Newsies was a great Broadway musical and a movie. Christian Bale made, I think, that was his first appearance in a movie. But we don't have like 2 hours to talk about this. But history adrenalizes me, just like you've adrenalized so many students. And I think ultimately what could be said about Mrs. Alburg is that she brings out the best in her students. And we really appreciate the fact that you've had a positive impact on thousands of Patterson pupils of yours. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, she wants me to say something.
That's a plug.
I'm very reluctant. You know, I'm a shrinking violet. You got to twist my arm. I forgot to mention, and it was a glaring omission, and please forgive me. As you know, and Nancy, you asked for it earlier, Hinchliffe Stadium is one of only 2 stadiums still standing in the United States that hosted Negro League games. The only other one is in Birmingham, Alabama. It's Rickwood Field, still in operation. Unfortunately, our stadium has been fallow for 25 plus years. And I'm not quite sure if you graduated from there, but countless Patterson students graduated on that field. We had the famous Turkey Bowl game on Thanksgiving between Kennedy and Eastside. Well, prior to that, it was Eastside and Central. We've had concerts. We've had performers like Lou Costello. Larry Doby tried out there at Hinchliffe Stadium. So this year, hopefully by November or December, we will be celebrating the restoration of Hinchliffe Stadium as it becomes, once again, fully functional and open to the Patterson public, primarily for 180 days, the Patterson students. So we'll be celebrating that soon, and you will all be invited, especially our Teacher of the Year. Maybe we'll have her recite something that day. Thank you.